All right. It's a true story. Really happened. It did. It's a true story. It wasn't. I talk about it in the book. There's one story in the book. I can't share it with you right now, but there's this one story where. So let me say it like this: a guy comes to my show to laugh, and he leaves headed to prison, and he's happy about it. I think that's chapter 25. He comes to my show just like you to laugh. What's that? 24. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for. What's the name of the chapter? Why are you helping out right now? What is it? Oh, no. From comedy to prison. No. That's a different chapter. From comedy to prison is a different chapter. I think it's called. No, check chapter 25. What is 25 called? Huh? Oh, see, you don't understand what's cracking. Does anybody see a chapter 25 in their book? Oh, exactly. She found an extra chapter. Yeah, so that's right. I'm telling you, we do some stuff in this book to get you all twisted up and be like, wait, how about that? Anyway, hey, so I got something really cool that I want to do. So I have a friend. I've never done this before. I don't even know how this is going to work. So I'm going to be doing some more, I'm going to be pulling out some new jokes. That's one thing that's going to happen. I got a couple more stories I want to share with you. But before we even jump into that, I have a friend. There's a comedian friend that we have. Rhonda knows him, and I've known him for a while. His name is Bone Hampton, right? And he is, anybody familiar with Bone Hampton? Cool, great dude. So here's what's cracking. So Bone is in some really not great health right now. Like he's in a really bad place. Health-wise, and then they need some funds to get the stuff together. So what I decided to do, do something a little more creative than just send him just me send him some money. So what we're gonna do is there's a Bone Hampton joke, right? And what I've decided to do is I'm going to rent his joke. So I'm gonna rent his joke at the price of so we're gonna rent his joke. I'm about to put up his GoFundMe. And I want you guys to determine whatever you want to give to his GoFundMe, but for every $100, I'm going to do his joke. So if you give $100, I'm going to do the joke. I'm going to show you the joke I'm going to do. It's a cool joke. This is Bone Hampton. Check it. This is the joke right here.
Expensive movie prices just ruined my dating life. Remember back in the day, fellas, when the movies used to be cheap, so you didn't really care if the date worked out? You know, she'd be like, Bone, I don't want to go to the movies with you no more. You're too loud and country. I don't care. $4.50, bye. Ain't nobody scared of you. My mama gave me $10. I got $1 left. That's 4 more games of Donkey Kong.
So, today was the first day I really even saw that joke. And I couldn't even afford movies when I was the age he's talking about. But, so what I'm going to do is, so he actually has like some heart failure stuff going on, and he's been in the hospital for a while. And at the hospital with him is 2 of his really close friends. Like right now, Sherry Shepard is there, and then Shonda Pierce is at his side. They pulled some strings because they, and they got there. But I was like, yo, so I sent Shonda and I sent him a message. I said, you know what? I'm being Seaconk. He was like, where? I said, no, listen, hear me out. I said, I'm going to tell my audience this Bone story, and I think their goal is to get 50,000. I think they're only like 7 G's away from do we have the GoFundMe thing up? Can we boom, there it is right there. So if you guys want to, I think it'd be really cool if you went there. You could even do it now if you want to, and then give to Bone, and my team is going to keep tracking. Every time they give me a like, I'm going to do that joke. Some rendition of that joke. I don't know exactly how, but it's just going to be random. They're going to give me a like every time we hit another 100 or maybe 200. I don't know whatever increments they say. But if you want to, or if you don't have to do it a second, you just take a picture of it right now and then do it later. But if you could post this as well, just say, this is Michael Jr.'s friend, and he's down right now, and we need to help lift him up. That'd be dope. That'd be really cool. So if you took a picture of that, it's going to be hard. Yeah, just take a picture of it, and if you could post it, he's a great dude. And he has a son who's like 12 years old, who is not looking amazing for him right now, but we're believing that by Jesus Christ he'll be healed. Great dude, awesome. So, boom. So do it. They're probably going to light me up. I'm making most of this up right now as far as them lighting me up. I hope my team knows what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to probably do that. Did you just give me a flashlight, lady? Movie prices is out of control. All right, so now here's what I'm going to do is, hey, you got your book. That's awesome. Thanks for getting the book. It's cool. She was like, wait, what'd I do? No, I was saying thanks for getting the book. I really appreciate it. Cool. Wait, say that again? She said, you are awesome. You are awesome. I love that. That sounds so good. You are awesome. Wait, did you recognize that voice? You know? How did you pick up on, everybody sound like her. I don't understand how you, to me, she's like, I don't know how I know. Oh my goodness, That's what women do. Oh my goodness, Dudes is like, yo, what's up, man? How do you know her? How you know her?
We're teachers. Teach Robin at the school department. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. I love teachers. Yo, I think teachers should get paid like $80,000 a year. For real, I do. I also think y'all should have to go to school year round. For real. I had 2 teachers that I remember like crazy. One of them was, I had 2 teachers. Mr. George, I wonder, I'm going to start with the not so great. Yeah, I'll start with her. I had one teacher whose name I won't mention, who said to me on a regular basis, for sure, one time I remember for sure, she said, hey, why don't you skip class sometimes? She said, you're never going to be anything anyways. Horrible. Just really, really bad. She just didn't, I don't blame her. It's just, she just wasn't in line with her purpose, which is probably one of the reasons I have such a desire to help people find out what it is they're called to do. Had another teacher, Mr. George. This dude was awesome. Like if I was cracking a joke in class, he'd be like, at any rate. And then he'd go ahead and keep teaching. And he taught in a way where I just fully got it, understood, very patient. Here's the other part that's a little weird. So white dude, he had long, flowy hair. Dude had a beard, always wore sandals. His name was Mr. George, and every time I go back to my hometown, last time I was there, I did a show, it was 2,200 people, it was sold out. I said, does anyone here go to Ottawa Hills High School? A bunch of people raised their hand. I said, anybody remember Mr. George? They said, yeah, but nobody can find this dude. I'm talking about like nobody. Like, I think he was Jesus. I'm just throwing that out there. Like can't nobody find this dude. I've been going back and home for I don't know how long. They still can't find him. All right. So what's he gonna do? We got the house lights up for him. You can bring them. Like it wasn't this bright before. Or maybe it was. I don't remember. That's fine. All right, so here's some brand new jokes. If these jokes are funny, I want you to laugh. If they're not funny, don't laugh. I don't want to get on TV. Jokes don't work. Like, ooh, C-Comp. Jokes don't even work. Okay, so just brand new jokes. Brand new, just, if they're funny, laugh. If they're not, it's fine. I'll learn from it. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, here's one right here. Oh, I got a rescue dog recently. You gonna think I'm making this? Well, stop. He was racist. Yeah, it was a little weird. Like he would bark at me. I'm like, dude, I rescued you. Like, what do you? And then my friend Brad would come over and you all playing with him, wagging his tail. Okay, not that one. I got a friend who used to do drugs, but now he met Jesus. Life was completely changed. He calls me once in a while with some Bible facts, and he's all blown away. Like, dude, did you know they got stoned in the Bible? I'm like, yeah, but it was different. Then I hit him with a rock. Why is it that, this is just a random question I came up with. Why is it that nobody wants to associate with the home association people? Have you noticed that? Oh, this is dope. This is a good joke. My Amish friend texted me this joke. This is a good one. Let me see if I can find it. comedy up here if you want it. Movies are expensive. I took a girl to the movies the other day, and it was like $4.28. I am jacking this joke up, but hey, I gave it a shot. So every time they light me up, I think we're at like, wow, we're at $500 already? That is dope. Wow, that is dope. Wow, you guys are awesome. Woo, movies are expensive. I'm actually just gonna say that phrase. That's all I'm gonna say right there, because that's really. So me and Bone, there's a joke that we kind of did together that I'll do, that I want to share with you. Oh, you keep putting that? Oh, that's dope. You guys are awesome. So there's this joke. I haven't done it in a long time. And me and Bone at one point had a discussion about this joke, and it was really cool. But I'm going to do that joke because it's kind of more of my rhythm as well. So college students, take somebody who goes to any school in the country and ask them what school they go to. Most of the time, you get a nice, quick answer, like University of New York City University. I haven't done this joke in a long time. You can tell, right? So ask them what school they go to. You get a nice, quick answer. What school you go to? NYU, right? Ask somebody to go to school like the University of Southern California. Ask them what school they go to. What school you go to? USC. Ask somebody to go to community college. You get a much longer response, don't you? What school you go to? Well, see, right now, what I'm doing, I'm gonna get a couple of credits, right? Then my financial aid supposed to come through. Then my cousin gonna let me use his books. Then we supposed to transfer. Man, shoot, I'm tripping, man. Did you read the book of Mark lately, man? That stuff is good, man. You know, I met the dude who wrote it. Yeah, You guys are awesome. Ooh, check it. You know what I'm gonna do? Hey, I'm gonna check on my squad. Can we do this? This would be so dope. The video of me setting this up, this whole I'm gonna do his joke again stuff, really talking to Damien. Can you cut that video up and have it ready, and then I'll post it on my Facebook and my Facebook, all of my social media accounts, and you guys can share it. Yo, that'd be dope. We might take care of some college funds. That'd be dope. In a good way, kids. Stay away from drugs. Awesome. You guys are amazing. Okay, wait. I'm gonna do another joke. This joke, okay, let me see. All right, so I'm gonna do this joke, and here's what's gonna happen. I wanna tell you about the emotions you're gonna go through when I do this joke. There's some emotions, right? Well, first of all, let me do it like this. You're gonna laugh. This joke has 2 punchlines in it. You're gonna laugh. The first one, you're gonna laugh. The second one, when you hit the second punchline, you're gonna wanna laugh, but you're gonna be confused. You're gonna have some emotions jump up. You're not gonna know what to do. So I'm just telling you, you're gonna laugh, and then suddenly you're gonna have some emotions, and you're gonna be like, ooh, let's do another joke. You want me to hurry up and get to another joke. Laugh, emotions, funny, I'm not sure what to do. Please do another joke. All right, here it is. So I think Jesus was black. Hear me out. He walked on water, but he didn't get in. And they was only supposed to arrest him. I'm gonna do another joke. That will make you ponder. Speaking of Jesus, you ever see a picture of the Last Supper? This is on here too. You ever see that picture of the Last Supper? Why are they all on the same side of the table? Did they know they was getting their picture taken? They was like, Judas was like, hold on, let me make sure they. Like, why is Judas smiling? Judas is smiling right now. Okay. No, not that one. It's not gonna work. Don't get it. Oh, when I first got saved by Jesus, I used to go to restaurants where they say kids eat free. I was like, I just got reborn, bro. Give me some food. I went to a business, and it was clear that they did not want to serve me. I went to this business. It was clear they didn't want to serve me because of the color of my skin. I ain't going back to that tanning salon. I'm just not going to go back, man. Here's the thing. The only reason I went into a tanning salon is because I wanted to come out of a tanning salon. I timed it perfectly, too. Like I timed it perfectly. As soon as I walked out, I was walking out, these two little white ladies was walking in. I was like, yo, they didn't calibrate. They didn't calibrate. They did not calibrate. Be careful. But I do know how to dance now, so I don't know. It's like a win-win. It's like a win-win. Movies are expensive these days, man. It is crazy. It is crazy. Yo, we just hit another $500. That is dope. You guys are dope. That's like $1,000. Movies is expensive, man. Shoot. I forgot how that joke went. Man, this is so awesome. Like, I just love when people come together. I mean, think about it. 98% of y'all don't even know who this person is. But you heard his story, and you decided to be a part of it. Man, that stuff just gets me. So I'm going to move on to another joke, because otherwise I'll get all emotional and stuff. So, my dad used to tell me this story when I was a kid. He used to tell me this story, because in our neighborhood we had a wino. His name was Willie. I don't know why Willie is always a wino. Anybody here know a wino named Willie? Raise your hand if you know a wino named Willie. Nobody? Oh, right there. There's a sister right there. She know a wino named Willie. It's always a... I'm just saying, if your name is Willie, just go by William, because you just... So Willie used to always drink Wild Irish Rose. He would always drink Wild Irish Rose. And it was like this really cheap wine. He would always have it in his belt buckle all the time. And one time he was on his way to Sam's store on the corner, dude get hit by a car. Boom. Get hit by a car. He laid out. His whole shirt, everything is red. And Willie said, that better be blood. That brother is committed. Hey, so that just made me think of something else that's completely unrelated. So one time I was on stage, and I mentioned how, so my dad is awesome. We grew up in a mostly black neighborhood. My dad always had friends that looked different. He always had a white friend for sure. And for some reason, his white friend was always like, I know this is gonna sound weird, but he was really handy. Like he could figure out anything. In fact, he had this one white friend named Steve who I thought was a superhero. Here's what I mean. When I was in the 10th grade, my teacher would ask, hey, if you could have any superpower, what would you like to have? And I didn't know any difference. I was like, I want to have white man power. Because Steve was a superhero to me. Let me explain what happened. Steve would come, I grew up in Grand Rapids. Steve would show up at our house. It is 8 below. He got on shorts. White man power. I've never seen that before, ever. Ever. He would come over our house and I'd be cleaning fish in the alley. I know that's a different story. It's probably in the book somewhere. He would walk on gravel rocks with no doggone shoes on. White man power. I really thought he was a superhero. One time, we get pulled over by the police. It's my dad, my uncle, Steve, and me. I'm 9. I know this is going bad. At 9 years old, I know it's going bad. Police pull over. We sitting there. The lights is all blasting on us. I'm scared. I know my dad's scared. My uncle's scared. I turn to look at Steve. He gets out the car. Oh, my goodness. I'm 9. Why do I know this isn't the thing to do? This dude get out the car. I'm assuming he is no longer alive because you can't see because the lights is blazing on you. Like, this dude is gone. He went to heaven. I don't know where he at. This brother come back with everybody's ID. Hey, it's all set, guy. It's all set. White man power. That was amazing to me. My dad made sure that we always had friends that didn't just look like us. But here's my point. My dad always had a friend, no matter where we lived, who was extremely handy, like he could fix anything. And he had a one-syllable name. I know this is gonna sound crazy. I know right now this sounds crazy. But for all the black people in here, if you're in here right now and you can remember somebody that you had, like it was a white person, a friend, who was very, very handy, like he could do anything. He'd be like, I got a buddy, I'll fix it, we'll do this. Like, and he had anybody got that person? Like he got you got one? What's his name? Joe. That's what I'm talking about. It's like the craziest thing ever. Like it's so handy. Who else? Anybody else got one? What you got? What's that? Your wife. Oh, you're gonna call her handy and she black. That is just got weird. It just got weird. Just got really weird just now. That was great when it was in your head right now, but that brother said, My wife, she's black and very handy. That's not what I was looking for, brother, but that's fine. With that being said, all right, so I'm in New York City. I'm living in my car, 1997 Lumina Drive. Even before, and this was right before I met Jesus, right? And even though I didn't know Jesus, I still didn't like doing wrong stuff. Like I knew nothing about Jesus, but I didn't like lying to people. So if people would ask me where I lived, I actually would park my car on the east side of the street. So if people ask me where I live, like I live on the east side, right? It was the upper east side too. I might as well be. So I'm living in my car, and the reason, like I mentioned before, the reason I was in New York City. Now, you would think, I went there to get my comedy career going. And you would think, as a comedian, once I get on stage, how much would you guess a comedian would get paid? Some of you guys may know because we're so close to New York, kind of. How much would a comedian get paid for performing at a comedy club, let's say one night? How much for one night? Just throw out a number. $500, $2,000, right? That's what somebody said. $12. That's not slang for $1,200. That's not slang for $120. It was $12. That's 1,200 pennies, nickels. That's yeah. I'm not gonna be doing all that math. It was $12 a show. So after I was in New York City, I lost my apartment because I couldn't pay for it anymore. I'm in my car and I'm rationing, like I'm broke and I'm living in my car. I'm still doing shows so I can eat food, but I have to live in my car. And I didn't have enough money to live in New York City, like in an apartment. And like I said, I didn't have enough money to leave. So I go and I perform at this club called the Comic Strip Live. And right before I get on stage, a comedian named George Wallace walks in. The George Wallace is awesome. One of my favorite jokes that he does, he says he was in China and he bought a pair of shoes. And he looked at the bottom of it and it said, made right around the corner. Awesome, right? So George Wallace is there. He sees my comedy show, he sees that I'm funny and I'm clean, and he offers me to do a show with him and his best friend in a couple nights. I'm pumped and excited. Stage time is really, really, really hard, and now George Wallace has asked me to do a show with his best friend. I didn't know who his best friend was. By the way, I get to the show, it's Jerry Seinfeld is his best friend. Well, that's what I find out. His best friend is Jerry Seinfeld, so I'm blown back. But now I have a dilemma before I could even possibly get to the show. I found out earlier that his best friend was Jerry Seinfeld. So I'm in my car, and what I would do, this is my routine every morning. I would wake up around 11 o'clock. Normally, I wake up at 6 a.m. Even to this day, just by nature, that's what time I get up. But back then, because I didn't have any money, I wouldn't get up until 11. So basically, I was having sleep for breakfast. I was like, I ain't gonna wake up and be hungry for 3 hours just sitting around looking like. So I trained myself to stay asleep until 11 because Subway would open at 11 and they had meatball subs for $5. So what I would do is I would go to Subway around 11:30, I would get a meatball sub, cut it in half, and I would eat the sub, eat the other half around 9 p.m. It was a balancing act between my economics and E. coli. It was like a... So I'm down to, I don't have $20 out, like I'm under 20s constantly, right? And George Wallace says, hey, do this show. The problem is I'm excited about doing the show, I told him I would do it, but I didn't ask him how much it would pay. Because that's not what you do. This is a great opportunity. You can't be like, yeah, I'd love to do it. How much you gonna pay me? Like, I can't do that. So I never asked him how much they're gonna pay, and I'm sitting there doing the math, and after putting gas in my car, because I would have to start my car up sometimes to stay warm at night, but you gotta rhythm it out. Like, you don't want it to wait too long and we use too much gas. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I do all the math. Okay, the show was on like a Friday, and then I had another show in New York City, 2 more shows. I was gonna be $24 on Saturday. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing this math, it could work out. The only problem is, in order to get to New Jersey, I was gonna have about $6 left. Maybe $5 and some change left. That's all I was gonna have to get to New Jersey to do the show with George Wallace. And I'm like, okay, I could do it. Put a little gas, I could do it. Then I was like, oh, snap. There's an $8 tow charge to get back into New York City. If they don't pay me for the show, what am I gonna do? And the first thought that came to my mind was, do they got meatball subs in New Jersey? I don't even know why that was the first thought. It was the weirdest thing ever. So I did what I had to do. Like, I couldn't just not do the show. So I went to New Jersey. I had no idea how I was gonna get back. I just went to the show, and I remember it was called Rascals Comedy Club. And it was like, you go down to this basement, and it was like a real club. It wasn't like a New York City club, which are real clubs, but they're super small. This one in New Jersey was huge. It was like a big, like a Midwest-style club. It was like 120 people in this place. They all was eating food. Like, I hadn't seen people like eating food, sitting down in a grip, and I was smelling it. It was awesome. And I walked down in the green room, there go George Wallace, doggone Jerry Seinfeld. Awesome. I did 2 shows that night. I got 2 standing ovations. I rip. I'm the man. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. Then after the show, I'm sitting around. I'm kind of hovering a little bit, waiting. Like, somebody, I'm about to get paid. It's gonna be great, man. I had a great set. I ate some food. It was awesome. People start leaving though. Like, the audience is leaving, and I'm sitting there like, and then like 20 minutes go by, and like George Wallace is gone. Jerry Seinfeld left a while ago. And I'm just there waiting on somebody to give me some money because I don't know what I'm going to do. Then the manager makes a beeline towards me. I can tell he's coming to me. I'm excited. I'm like, yes. All right, yes. And he's walking right to me. And this dude looks at me and says, hey, Mike, we had a great set. Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to go to church with us this weekend? Church? I'm thinking to myself, church? Man, I don't got no food. I don't want to go to church. I just said, nah, I'm okay, man. I'm good, man. I ain't gonna go to church. I ain't got the gas to get to a church. So at this point, I know it's time for me to leave. He's confirmed I'm not gonna get paid, which isn't unusual. It's okay. Like, I get it. You gotta perform sometimes for nothing. Like, that's just how it goes. So I'm walking. I'm getting ready to leave and walk to my car. And then I decide, let me go to the bathroom because the one in my apartment don't exist. So I go to the bathroom, and it's a little sad. Like, anyway, I'm going to the bathroom, I'm getting ready to leave. And you ever see the movie where the woman shows up and she's all beautiful and her hair is floating in the wind and all the lights is on her and stuff? I walk out and there's this lady there. She is beautiful, like beautiful. She pales in comparison to my wife that I'm married, but she was beautiful, right? And I wasn't married at the time, like I'm married now. My wife is here, she's amazing. But I didn't even know. And she's talking, and she's all beautiful, and the wind is blowing. I'm hearing music, but ain't no music on. And she said, did you talk to my fiance? He's the manager. I was like, huh, what? And she had this accent. She said, Michael Jr., would you like to go to church with us? And I was like, I was just looking for a church the other day, man. Yeah, I want to go to church. Yeah, this is crazy, you should ask. I'm hearing myself say this, but it don't even make sense because I'm like, I don't want to go. But then she's like, and then she wrote the address on this napkin. And I look at the napkin, and the address was a New York City address. And the reality of my situation came crashing down. I can't get to New York City. I'm about to go to my car, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So I go ahead and I say thank you. I get all my stuff, and they had some they have free food on the bar, whatever, little giblets, whatever. So then I know it's time to leave now, because it's going to be weird if I stick around. And then I get ready to leave, and I hear this deep voice, yo, Mike Jr. And it's the bouncer dude, who at first wouldn't even let me into the club. This big swole dude, like big old chest. Every time he talk, it vibrate. The chain, his gold chain vibrate. He'd be like, yo, Mike Jr. And when I talked to him, he took all my bass. I was like, hey, man, I was just wondering. Like, this dude is big, like he's swole up. So I'm walking to my car, old boy calls me back, Mike Jr. I was like, hey, what's up? And now I could feel that he's got more respect for me than he did when I walked through the door. You could just sense it because he saw my set. He's like, yo, you had a good set. And we go to do the thing where we slap hands as we're approaching each other, right? Skaplow, and then you tap out, and then you, right? But the slap wasn't as loud as I was expecting. When we slap hands, it wasn't that loud. And the reason it wasn't that loud is because he was exchanging some money into my hand. And it's all this is happening in slow motion. He exchanging money, and I feel the money, and I start getting emotional. I'm like, oh, and I could feel like a tear or something. I'm like, no, this is going to be all bad if I'm crying when I come back and look him in his eye. All this stuff is happening super slow. I'm like, ah. And I'm all emotional, and there's money in my hand. I can feel it's $2 but you don't look, because you can't look right there. You can't, you don't look. And he said, George Wallace said to give you a little something, something. And I'm like, oh, cool. All right, man. You know, I got my hands all clenched. Start walking back to my car slowly but surely, and I'm thinking, man, I did 2 sets. Is this going to be $10 a set? Is it $24? I could tell it's $2. Why don't you just open your hand? I don't know. What if it's 2 20s? This is awesome. I'm all pumped. I get to my car. I open my car with my offhand. Like I open it up because I don't want to open this one up. And I set my stuff on the passenger seat and I close the door and I sit down. I'm like, man, this is, wow. And I slowly open I don't know why I did one finger at a time. It was like, and one finger at a time, and I'm starting to get emotional. And the next sound I hear is really my tears crashing down on $200 bills. And I'm done. I am done. And then my vision is still all blurry. I'm bawling, crying, and the next thing I see after I'm done wiping my tears is a crumpled up napkin on the passenger seat with an address to the church. I went to that church, and that's where I got saved at. And then I drove. I leave there, head to Chicago, sell some T-shirts. It's funny how life works. So, wow, man, I get emotional every time until the wow. Okay, so, man, was there another joke that I want to do? Let me see. Yeah. Okay, so I really like awkwardness. Did you feel it just now? It's the best. I'll look for awkwardness. Like, I'll look for it. Like, I'll get on the elevator when there's like 6 or 7 people in there. I'll let the door close behind me, and I won't turn around. And they're like, what floor? I'm like, it doesn't matter. And then I'll say something random like, it's Tuesday, but it's really Friday. And everyone gets off on the next floor. Then I just giggle my way to the top. And then I go to the stairwell, and I'm saying people from the elevator, and I say to them, it's Thursday, and they go right back down the stairs. It is so much fun. It is so much fun. Awkwardness is fun. You gotta embrace the awkwardness. I'm gonna pause real quick to say, man, movies are expensive. I can't even tell you. It's like crazy, crazy expensive. Like, shoot, man. I took a girl to the movies the other day. No, I didn't. I'm married. My wife is here. So I'm going to give you something you can do for awkwardness. Every time I see that picture, it's kind of blowing me away a little bit. Like, that just really blesses me a lot. Like, you guys, some of y'all don't know me. And y'all taking care of him. Like, I love people. Listen, you can watch the news. I would probably watch the news once a week at the most. And maybe at the most once a week. And then maybe ask the question, while you're watching the news, what else could this mean? Like, what's good about this? There's something. You can find it. There's something there. We need to be informed, but don't do too much. What you guys are doing right now is amazing news to me. The fact that you're doing this just blesses me. I mean, it just really does. Yeah, okay, we'll get into some more stuff shortly, but that just really blesses me a lot. So I was in the middle of a joke. So here's something you can do to create awkwardness. I do this all the time. It is a blast. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be weird when you do it, but when you go home, you'll be cracking up. Here's what I do. I'll use a phrase the right way that most people use the wrong way. It creates awkwardness and it's fun. Let me explain. I walk up to somebody I don't know, never met them before. I see them, they're like 20 feet away from me, and I'll say to them, hey there, stranger. Haven't seen you in forever. Then I just walk off. It'll be weird when you're doing it. When you go home, you will be cracking up in your kitchen. And then 30 days later, you'll be cracking up all over again, seemingly for no reason. But it's not for no reason, because you know at that moment, that person is thinking about you. It's the best. What about this? You ever go on a job interview and partway through you realize, I don't want to work here. That is an awesome opportunity. You don't want the job anyway, enjoy the process. They ask you those weird questions. Tell me a little bit about yourself. You're like, you know what? Why don't you go first? Then ask them this question. Say this to them. Say, hey, where do you see me in 5 years? And then shake your head and start taking notes. Because they ask you those questions like, tell me about a time you had a disagreement with a coworker and tell me how you worked it out. This is what you should say. Oh, yeah, so here's what happened. My colleague took credit for work I did. I did all the work, they took all the credit. So here's what I did. What I decided to do was, well, fast forward, here I am. Yeah, I went over to her cubicle and So here's what we're gonna do. Man, this is so cool. So you guys actually just triggered a thought because some of you guys are really, really giving, which is awesome. But here's the thought that I have. I'm the type of person who loves to give. I love to give. I'm also really good at receiving. Some people have a hard time doing both. I'm really good at receiving. Like I'm good. Like you'll never see me having lunch with another dude and we arguing about who's gonna pay for it. This is what it looks like when I'm at lunch with a dude. I'm like, hey, I'll pay for it. He's like, no, I got it. I'm like, cool. Cool with me. It's fine. So I have this thing that I want to do. So just so you know, when I'm on stage doing comedy, I may be presenting joke number 1. But at the same time, I'm doing the math on what I think joke number 2 should be based off how you're currently responding to joke number 1. Then I'll move on to joke number 3 and start doing the math on what I think joke number 2 should be based off how you're currently responding to joke number 1 and probably will respond to joke number 2. Then I'll move on to joke number 4. I actually used to go 7 jokes deep. I would be thinking about joke number 7 even though I'm presenting joke number 1, but I can't do that anymore because I met this dude named Jesus and he wanted to talk. So what I'm doing now is I'm listening in between the gaps, and the question I used to ask is what comedy can I do to get more laughs from people? How can I get laughs from people? But Jesus showed me the question I should be asking is what can I give to my audience? And most of the time it's funny, but sometimes it's something more. Like pulling up a picture of a random friend or having a conversation with somebody or like sometimes it's something more. So I'm always listening between the gaps. By the way, in life, whatever you do, there's gaps. What question are you asking in between the gaps? So as I'm up here right now, I felt a little shift like I'm supposed to do this thing called communerosity. And this is going to jack some people up in a really good way. So communerosity is this thing that we came up with because I know that there's people out there who love to give, and I also know there's people out there who have a hard time giving. There's also people out there who love to receive, and there's also people who have a hard time receiving. So we came up with communerosity because, well, let me explain. Here's how it's going to work. We're about to bounce. Shortly, we're going to be leaving. I'm going to tell 1 or maybe 2 more stories after I explain communerosity, then we're going to bounce. But here's how it works. You have the merch table out there. You see all of the stuff. It's really cool. The proceeds, I didn't tell you this, by the way, all the proceeds, because there's so much stuff going on in the world, the proceeds are going to a black family in America. So I say that. We'll start with that. It's true. It's really true. But the way communerosity works is you walk up to the table. If for any reason you can't afford something, you walk up to the table, buy whatever you want, that's awesome. Some of you guys did that. Some of you guys can continue to do that. But if for any reason you can't afford something at the table, we actually walk up to the table, ask what you want, and we give it to you. Like for real. Some people here, if you have the means, what we actually do is buy what you want and then buy some more and leave it there for someone else. Communerosity stands for community, generosity. Now listen, this is not pay it forward. Please understand, this is not pay it forward. Pay it forward comes with a burden. You did this for me, now I have to do something for someone else. That's not what this is. The reason we're doing this is because there's people in here who don't have much and you have a hard time receiving. Well, maybe the reason you don't have much is because you have a hard time receiving. What number were you in the Starbucks line? What I mean by that is we always hear those stories about Starbucks. This car paid for the car behind it, and it paid for the car behind it. I went to Starbucks, it happened to me, right? Car in front of me paid for my coffee. I was like, wow, that is awesome. So you know what I did? I did a little prayer, didn't hear nothing, pulled off with some free Starbucks. For real. Listen, I was at the same Starbucks 2 weeks later with my son. Car in front of us paid for our Starbucks. I was like, wow, that is awesome. Dude in the drive-thru was like, you don't understand. You're the 23rd car in a row. I was like, wow, for real? Pulled off with some free Starbucks. Here's the thing. Is it possible that the only person who really gave was the person in the front? Is it also possible that everyone else just had a hard time receiving? I ain't have a hard time receiving. There's another part to community. There's also people in here who got a lot of money. You're doing all right financially. But some of you, if you're honest with yourself, you have a hard time receiving as well. So we ask you to walk up to the table and leave your money in your pocket and ask for an item and let us give it to you. Because if you can't receive from me and the people around you, how can you truly receive from a God you can't see? Because he's going to use people like me and the people around you. So here's what I enjoy about community. Number one, you can do any of those things. But what I really want you to do is whatever you feel like God is prompting you to do. One of my favorite things about community is how you do anything is how you do everything. In life, how you do anything is how you do everything. So you actually get a snapshot at how you do with giving and receiving tonight. So when you leave here, you get to see how you do. And this is no pressure either way. I just want you to hear and then do. God may say to you, just go to your car. You're always doing too much. And you really, really want to give. And God is like, sit yourself down. Are you going to be obedient? Or you be like, no, she gave some money. I got to do it too. Sit yourself down. How you do anything is how you do everything. God may say to you, go buy the whole merchandise table. And that's cool with me. You do exactly what you're supposed to do. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to notice how you feel when you get ready to leave with regards to walking up to the table. I want you to recognize what you're feeling. Because if God tells you to give and you struggle with that in any way, if you're having a hard time giving, you're having a hard time giving across the board in every aspect of life. If you're having a hard time receiving at the table, you're having a hard time receiving at the table. And God has so much more for you. Here's one indication if you have a hard time receiving. Somebody walks up to you and gives you a compliment. That is a beautiful dress. Oh, this is just I just got this old dress. It was on sale. Yeah. Why can't you just receive the compliment? So what I want you to do, whatever God tells you to do, whether you hear something now, whatever you feel you should do, I just want you to notice it. And some of you guys are not going to be able to break through. But it's okay. Meaning God will say give or say receive, or you'll be trying to do the math, you're all analytical. But I just want you to notice what you're feeling. Because that feeling has been there before, you just didn't notice it before. But now we're putting a microscope on it so you can notice it. So the next time you have to give or receive, wherever you're at in life, you'll notice that feeling again. And hopefully at that point, you'll push through. But tonight, we're going to press it in a little bit. If you could push, some of y'all going to hover.